Kia ora, Beck here, just here to explain the Three Thinks, which is an inquiry and project-based learning strategy for students. Why should you learn about the Three Thinks? A couple of reasons. One is it's useful whenever you have to think something through, whether it's in learning or in your actual life. And the second reason is that it's going to help you dig deeper and learn that little bit more. Plus, it'll help you really stretch those thinking muscles because you won't be able to just rely on what you already know and can do. So let's take a look now at 5 key ideas for the Three Thinks strategy. Key idea number 1. You need to have a purpose, inquiry, or project to achieve. The Three Thinks strategy works best for projects involving problem solving, generating new ideas and products, making judgments and decisions, designing, making, constructing, developing informed opinions, deepening your understanding of big ideas, and inquiring into driving essential questions. And those projects can be in your life outside of school, or of course, projects within school. If you're just starting out, these 3 projects are a great place to start. Problem solving, creating new ideas and products, and making judgments and decisions. And what do these 3 help us do? Basically, it means we'll be able to come up with things like, for problem solving, we can come up with a solution, a recommendation, action, fix, or improvement. If we create new ideas and products, we'll come up with a design or a concept, an idea, a plan, or an invention. And if we make judgments and decisions, we can come up with an opinion, judgment, evaluation, conclusion, or decision. For example, finding a solution for a problem with a friend, coming up with a solution to the traffic problem, or encouraging others to make better use of a resource. Creating a new plan for your bedroom, or an artwork to represent kaitiakitanga, or a new idea for the school gala, where you could use it to help you decide which sports club to join, determine whether Goldilocks is a criminal, or judge which is worse, the bully or the bystander. Moving on to key idea number 2. That is that the 3 Thinks each have an important job to do. Let's take a look. The first one is think first. And think first is all about clarity and consideration. We need it so that we don't race off and just jump on our first idea, and that we have a really clear picture of what we're trying to achieve and what our end product needs to be like. The second think is think facts. And that is about researching what we need to know or find out. And we need this so that our project is based on true facts, proof, and accurate information. The last thing we want is to base our whole project on something that's not true. And the last think is think deeply. Think deeply means we think and question in different ways, creatively, critically, and effectively. And we need it so that we end up with something that's relevant, meaningful, and successful. Next up, key idea number 3. You can use any of the 3 Thinks at any time, in any order, as many times as needed. In other words, the 3 Thinks strategy is not using them just once each, and it's not using them in the same order each time necessarily, and it's not about one and done, doing it once and never again. Let's take a look at an example of coming up with an idea for a school fun day for Hauora. The first part of the 3 Thinks would be think first, clarifying what we need to do and what criteria our idea will need to meet if it's going to work. Then think facts. We start gathering some facts about the school's expectations for the day. Then move on to think deeply. Once we have the basic information, we start to think creatively to come up with some ideas. Then we go back to think facts. We need to research and find out which of those ideas would even be possible. Then think deeply again. With the ideas that would be possible, need to then evaluate their pros and cons, which would take us back to think facts, which would mean we have to find proof that the pros and cons are likely. Jumping back to think deeply would be finding solutions to any potential problems or difficulties and evaluating each against the criteria before think first and deciding what we need to do now. Let's see how the three thinks would be used in deciding whether Goldilocks is a criminal. First up, we'd think first, clarifying what we need to do and what criteria we need to meet. Then we would need to think facts and start researching the storyline, because there's more than one story to Goldilocks. Then we might think facts again and research what a criminal is, before we go on and think deeply, which is coming up with reasons for and against Goldilocks being a criminal. Then, continuing on to think deeply, would be checking the reasons to identify where we needed to find some proof or supporting evidence to back them up. We'd move on to think facts to search for that proof or evidence before going back to thinking deeply to evaluate the arguments to find those that are strongest. Then we would think first and decide how we'd share our decision. While key idea number 3 was about using the three thinks more than once, key idea number 4 is within a single project you might actually cycle through the whole three thinks strategy more than once as well, for different parts of the project. Let's see how this might look. Say you were doing a project where your purpose was to come up with a solution for a problem in the playground and then having to convince your classmates that whatever solution you came up with will work best. The first time you cycle through the three thinks would be to find the cause of the problem. Once you've done that, you go through it again to come up with your solution. Then you have your solution, and your third cycle would be to convince your classmates. Another example could be around the gala. Maybe your purpose was to design and make something original to sell at the gala. This is going to take more than one set of the three thinks as well. Your first cycle would be where you come up with a great idea. The second time through the strategy would be where you'd make your product. And perhaps a third time through, you would be looking at how you're going to sell the product. Back to the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Maybe your project purpose was to decide who's most at fault. Is it Goldilocks, the Three Bears, or someone or something else? Well, the first time through the three thinks strategy would be to evaluate different possible arguments and opinions. Then you would need to determine and justify your own opinion before working through the strategy to decide what to do with your evaluation. And last but not least, key idea number 5. Working as a collaborative team enhances the three thinks. And you need to remember to use your collaborative strengths and build on your stretches at the same time. So what are your collaborative strengths and stretches? Here's some ideas. Number 1, speak clearly so I'm heard and understood. 2, listen actively and clarify what others are saying. 3, take on a job or role to contribute to the group. 4, stay focused and on task and keep others on task. 5, utilise team strengths and talents. 6, accept the thoughts and ideas of others. 7, allow others to contribute. And 8, deal with conflict situations assertively. And that's a wrap for the three thinks, an inquiry and project-based learning strategy for students. Good luck!